Good morning, everyone. Change. Just the word itself can stir up a mix of excitement, fear, and doubt. But let me tell you something, change is the doorway to everything we want, but are too scared to pursue. And today I want to talk about what it takes to walk through that door. Every great transformation in life begins with a shift in perspective. It's not always about changing the external circumstances, it's about changing the lens through which we view them. Think about it. Two people can face the same situation, yet one thrives while the other feels defeated. Why? The difference lies in how they perceive what's happening around them and, more importantly, within them. Perspective shapes reality, and when you change how you see things, you change what's possible. We're often taught to see life in terms of what's fixed. This is who I am. This is how things are. This is what I can or cannot do. These thoughts become the walls of our mental prison. But here's the thing, those walls aren't real. They're built on years of conditioning, past experiences, and societal expectations that were never truly ours to begin with. And the moment we question them, we find cracks in the foundation. That's where the magic begins. Changing perspective doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It means looking at those challenges through a new lens, one that asks, what can I learn from this? How can this situation help me grow? Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, we start to see them as stepping stones. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We ask, what is this teaching me? That subtle shift can change everything. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're standing in front of a massive mountain. From one perspective, it looks like an impossible climb, something too big and overwhelming to conquer. But what if you took a step back? What if you noticed the winding path etched into the side, leading upward, one step at a time? Suddenly, the mountain isn't just an obstacle, it's an opportunity, a challenge that, once overcome, will offer a view you never thought you'd see. The same is true in life. When you allow yourself to step back, to reframe the situation, you begin to see options where there seem to be none. You start to notice the resources you have, the people who support you, and the strengths within you that you've underestimated. Perspective isn't about denial, it's about empowerment. It's about recognizing that while you can't always control what happens, you can control how you respond to it. And when you choose to see possibilities instead of limitations, you open the door to transformation. Change your perspective, and you'll change your story. That shift, though seemingly small, has the power to change everything. Courage is often romanticized as this grand, heroic act, but in reality, it's much quieter and more personal. It's not the absence of fear. It's feeling the fear and choosing to act anyway. Most of us wait for the perfect moment when we'll feel ready, confident or fearless, but that moment rarely comes. Courage isn't about waiting for the fear to disappear. It's about moving forward despite it. Real change demands courage because it forces us to step out of what's familiar and into the unknown. And let's face it, humans are creatures of habit. We cling to what's comfortable even when it no longer serves us because the unknown feels risky. But here's the truth, the comfort zone isn't actually comfortable, it's just familiar. Staying there might feel safe, but it often keeps us stuck in cycles that prevent growth. Courage is the key that unlocks the door to something more, but we have to be willing to turn it. Think about the moments in your life when you've been at a crossroads, when you knew you had to make a choice that would either keep you where you were or push you towards something new. Maybe it was a career change, a difficult conversation, or setting a boundary in a relationship. Those moments are terrifying because they come with uncertainty. You don't know what's on the other side of your decision, and that not knowing can feel paralyzing. But here's the thing, courage isn't about knowing the outcome. It's about trusting yourself enough to take the step anyway. When you step into courage, you also step into vulnerability. It's uncomfortable to risk failure, rejection, or criticism, but it's also where transformation happens. You can't grow if you're unwilling to be seen, to take risks, and to face the possibility of falling short. But even when you fall, courage allows you to get back up, dust yourself off, and try again. It's important to remember that courage doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's as simple as saying no to something that drains you, asking for help when you need it, or taking the first small step toward a goal that scares you. Those small acts of courage build over time, creating momentum that propels you forward. The truth is, every great change in life begins with the decision to be brave, even when it's hard. Courage over comfort isn't just a mantra, it's a practice. And when you make it a practice, you unlock doors you never even knew were there. Owning your story is one of the most powerful things you can do. It's about taking full responsibility for your life, your experiences, and your actions. For many of us, this is easier said than done. It's tempting to focus on the things that happened to us, those moments we'd rather forget, or the mistakes we've made, and let them define us. But the truth is, your story isn't just a collection of events, it's how you make meaning out of them. And when you own your story, you claim the power to rewrite it in a way that serves you. We all carry a narrative about who we are, what we've been through, and where we're going. Sometimes these stories are shaped by our past, by what others have told us, or by societal expectations. But often, these stories are incomplete. They leave out the parts of us that are growing, learning, and evolving. If you're only focused on the past or the mistakes you've made, you're missing out on the bigger picture. The truth is, you're not defined by your past, you're defined by what you choose to do with it. Owning your story means acknowledging both the triumphs and the struggles. It's easy to take credit for the successes, the moments where things went right, but what about the challenges, the failures, the moments of pain? These are the very things that shape us into who we are. They give us resilience, depth, and understanding. The harder parts of your story are often the ones that hold the most power. When you own them, when you stop hiding or running from them, you give yourself the opportunity to heal and grow. There's an incredible freedom in owning your story. It's liberating because it means you no longer need to seek validation from others or let their opinions dictate your worth. When you take ownership, you stop apologizing for your existence and start living in alignment with your truth. You stop trying to fit into a box that was never meant for you. You begin to live authentically, knowing that your value comes from who you are, not from who others think you should be. This ownership isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process. You'll need to revisit your story, challenge the parts of it that no longer serve you, and reframe the narrative to reflect the person you're becoming. It's about taking the power back into your own hands, understanding that no one else can define you. You are the author of your own life, and every decision you make adds another chapter to your story. When you truly own your story, you shift from being a passive observer of your life to an active participant. You stop letting life happen to you and start making life happen for you. It's a quiet but radical shift, and it changes everything. The ripple effect of change is one of the most profound yet often underestimated forces in life. It's easy to think that our actions only matter on a personal level, that the changes we make in our own lives don't have a far-reaching impact. But the truth is, every time we choose to transform, to evolve, to shift our mindset or behavior, we create waves that extend far beyond us. These ripples touch the lives of others in ways we might never fully understand. When you make a change, even a small one, it doesn't happen in isolation. People notice. Your friends, family, colleagues, they see you showing up differently. They might not always vocalize it, but they feel the shift. And when they see you stepping into your power, choosing growth over comfort, they're inspired to do the same. It's the most subtle form of leadership, living in alignment with your truth and letting your actions speak louder than words. Your growth becomes a beacon for others, a reminder that change is not just possible, but contagious. This ripple effect doesn't just apply to the people closest to you. It reaches into your community, your workplace, even the world at large. Think about it. Every time someone chooses to show up more authentically, more intentionally, or more vulnerably, they create a space for others to do the same. We've all been in environments where someone's positive energy or bold action ignites something in us. It sparks a shift in our own thinking or behavior, even if we're not consciously aware of it. That's the power of the ripple effect. You don't need to have all the answers or be the loudest voice in the room to make a difference. Just by showing up fully, you can catalyze change in others. Consider how a small gesture of kindness can impact a person's entire day. One act of generosity, a word of encouragement, or even a shared smile can shift someone's perspective in a moment of darkness. That individual might then pass that kindness on, creating a chain reaction that spreads far beyond your original intention. The same principle applies to larger, more significant changes. When you decide to heal, grow, and take ownership of your own story, you model the possibility of transformation to those around you. Moreover, the ripple effect extends not just to others, but to yourself. Every time you make a decision that aligns with your values, every time you choose growth over stagnation, you reinforce your own sense of self-worth and purpose. And that's a ripple that reverberates in your own life. You begin to trust yourself more, believe in your potential, and realize that your actions do matter. The truth is, we're all interconnected, and the changes we make in our own lives create a domino effect that shapes the world in ways we may never fully comprehend. But that doesn't make it any less real. The impact of our choices reaches far and wide, and when we choose to transform ourselves, we inadvertently help transform the world around us. Failing forward is a concept that can feel counterintuitive at first, especially in a society that often views failure as something to avoid at all costs. We are taught to aim for success, to strive for perfection, and to fear the idea of not getting things right. But what if failure isn't the end of the road? What if it's actually the beginning of something much greater? The truth is, failure isn't a setback, it's a stepping stone. It's an essential part of the journey, and it's in our willingness to fail that we uncover the potential for real growth. Failure is not something to be ashamed of or afraid of, it's an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. Every time we fail, we gain valuable insight into what didn't work, why it didn't work, and what we can do differently next time. In other words, failure is feedback. The key is to see it as an integral part of the process rather than an obstacle standing in our way. The most successful people in history didn't avoid failure, they embraced it. They understood that every failure was a lesson, a necessary part of the growth that ultimately led them to success. When we fail forward, we approach each setback with curiosity instead of shame. We ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to improve? Instead of focusing on the negative aspects of failure, the disappointment, the frustration, the fear, we focus on the possibilities. What could this failure teach us that success couldn't? In fact, often it's in the midst of failure that we gain our most valuable lessons. It's easy to celebrate success, but it's the challenges and setbacks that push us to evolve, to rethink our approach, and to grow stronger. The truth is, every successful person has encountered failure at some point. They might have failed in different ways, but what they all have in common is the ability to fail forward. They didn't let their mistakes define them or hold them back. Instead, they used those moments as fuel to propel them forward. It's about developing resilience and perseverance, the ability to get up every time you fall and try again with even more determination. Failing forward also requires self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on yourself when things don't go as planned, but the reality is that perfection doesn't exist. We are all human, and mistakes are inevitable. The key is not to beat yourself up over them, but to embrace them as part of your evolution. Be kind to yourself when you fail and see it as a natural part of your growth. Breaking the patterns that no longer serve us is one of the most challenging and rewarding aspects of personal growth. We are creatures of habit, and over time we fall into patterns, thoughts, behaviors, and routines that become so ingrained in our daily lives that we often don't realize they're holding us back. These patterns can stem from past experiences, societal conditioning, or simply from the comfort of familiarity. But when we step back and look at our lives with fresh eyes, we often realize that these patterns are keeping us stuck, preventing us from moving forward and reaching our true potential. Breaking free from them is the key to unlocking the next chapter of our lives. At first, breaking a pattern feels uncomfortable. It's like trying to swim against the current. Our minds and bodies are so used to the routine that even the smallest change feels like a disruption. But that discomfort is a sign that we're doing something important, that we're stepping out of our old ways of thinking and being and making room for something new. Change doesn't happen in the comfort zone. It happens when we challenge the status quo, when we dare to disrupt the patterns that have kept us safe but small. To break a pattern, the first step is awareness. You have to recognize the pattern before you can break it. This requires taking an honest, often uncomfortable look at your life. Are you constantly procrastinating? Are you holding on to relationships or jobs that drain you? Are you repeating the same mistakes over and over again? These are signs of patterns that need to be addressed. The good news is that awareness is the first step to change. Once you recognize a pattern, you can start to make different choices. It's about shifting from autopilot mode to conscious living. The next step is to replace the old pattern with a new one. It's not enough to simply stop doing something. You need to actively choose a new way of thinking or behaving. If your pattern has been self-doubt, the new pattern could be self-compassion and confidence. If your pattern has been avoidance, the new pattern could be taking small, consistent steps toward your goals. This shift requires patience and practice because old patterns are deeply ingrained. But the more you practice the new way, the more natural it will feel. It's also important to recognize that breaking patterns is a process, not a one-time event. It takes time to rewire your brain and create new habits. During this process, you will likely face resistance, both external and internal. Others may challenge your new behavior, or you may struggle with doubt and fear. But don't let this discourage you. The more you commit to breaking the old pattern, the more you will strengthen the new one. The key is persistence. Ultimately, breaking old patterns is about growth. It's about choosing to move beyond the familiar, beyond what's comfortable to become the person you are meant to be. It's about stepping into your full potential, embracing new ways of thinking, and being open to the possibilities that come with change. The act of breaking a pattern isn't just a one-time shift. It's a continual process of evolution, one that brings you closer to the life you want and the person you are meant to become. The role of self-talk in shaping our reality is often overlooked, yet it holds incredible power in influencing how we experience the world. The way we speak to ourselves internally has a direct impact on our emotions, actions, and overall mindset. The voice inside our head, whether supportive or critical, shapes our perceptions, determines our confidence, and guides our choices. Self-talk is not just a passive inner dialogue, it's an active force that can either propel us forward or hold us back. Our thoughts often operate on autopilot, looping through our minds without us even noticing. When these thoughts are negative, they can become a barrier, creating self-doubt, fear, and insecurity. For example, if you repeatedly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," you begin to internalize those beliefs. Over time, these thoughts start to dictate how you approach challenges. You may avoid risks, hesitate to try new things, or give up before you even start, all because you've convinced yourself that success is unattainable. Negative self-talk becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the narrative you've created shapes your reality, often in ways that limit your potential. But what if we could change that narrative? What if, instead of focusing on our flaws, we chose to speak to ourselves with kindness and encouragement? Self-talk can be a tool for empowerment. It can be the voice that reminds us of our strength, our capability, and our worth. It can fuel resilience and courage in the face of adversity. For instance, when faced with a difficult challenge, instead of saying, "This is too hard," we can choose to say, "I can handle this. I've overcome obstacles before, and I can do it again." This simple shift in language not only changes how we feel, but also changes how we respond to the situation. The power of positive self-talk lies in its ability to reframe our mindset. When we actively choose to replace negative thoughts with supportive, affirming ones, we begin to shift our perspective. Instead of seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance, we start to see ourselves as capable agents of change. This doesn't mean ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging challenges while maintaining a belief in our ability to navigate them. It means understanding that our thoughts are not truths, they're just stories we tell ourselves. And the beauty is that we have the power to rewrite those stories at any time. This change in self-talk is not instantaneous. It requires practice and intention. The more you consciously choose to replace negative thoughts with empowering ones, the easier it becomes to rewire your brain. It's about building a new habit of thinking, one that supports growth, fosters self-compassion, and encourages perseverance. Over time, this shift in self-talk can lead to a deeper sense of self-worth and confidence, helping you to face challenges with a mindset that is rooted in possibility rather than limitation. Ultimately, the stories we tell ourselves are the foundation of our reality. When we change the way we speak to ourselves, we change how we experience the world. Positive self-talk has the potential to unlock doors, encourage action, and build resilience in ways that negative self-talk never could. It's a practice that, When nurtured, has the power to transform not just the way we see ourselves, but the way we show up in the world. The concept of embracing discomfort is often viewed with hesitation as it challenges our natural desire for ease and familiarity. However, it is precisely within discomfort that the most significant growth occurs. Growth doesn't happen in the comfort zone, it happens when we push ourselves beyond what feels easy and secure. The discomfort we experience in these moments is not a sign of failure or weakness. It's a sign that we're stretching, evolving, and stepping into a new version of ourselves. Many of us avoid discomfort at all costs. We resist change, avoid difficult conversations, and shy away from risks because they make us feel uneasy. But what if we shifted our perspective on discomfort? What if we saw it not as something to be feared, but as an indicator of progress? Every time we step into discomfort, we are presented with an opportunity to learn something new about ourselves and the world around us. It's the moments of discomfort that stretch our capacity, challenge our assumptions, and build our resilience. Take a moment to think about the times in your life when you've experienced growth. Chances are those moments were preceded by discomfort in some form. Maybe it was starting a new job, moving to a new city, or having a difficult conversation with someone close to you. In those moments, it's easy to want to retreat into what's familiar, to choose the path that feels safe. But the truth is, if we always choose safety, we miss out on the opportunity for growth. Embracing discomfort doesn't mean seeking out unnecessary hardship, but it does mean being willing to face challenges head-on rather than avoiding them. It means leaning into the discomfort of uncertainty, knowing that it's through that uncertainty that we discover our true potential. The discomfort of trying something new, of failing and trying again, of pushing through fear and self-doubt is the very process that makes us stronger and more capable. In fact, discomfort is often a sign that we're on the right path. It means we're stepping outside our old boundaries and taking risks. It means we're evolving. The discomfort you feel when trying something new is the feeling of growth occurring. It's the feeling of expanding your limits, of becoming more than you were yesterday. And over time, what once felt uncomfortable becomes familiar. The more we embrace discomfort, the less power it has over us, and the more confident we become in our ability to handle whatever comes our way. The key is to shift our mindset around discomfort. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, we can choose to see it as a sign of opportunity. It's the doorway to the next phase of our journey, the signal that we're on the brink of something important. By embracing discomfort, we develop the strength, resilience, and adaptability necessary to thrive in the face of life's challenges. Each step forward, each uncomfortable moment is a testament to our ability to grow and transform. And in the end, it's this ability to lean into discomfort that changes everything. The power of small steps cannot be underestimated. In a world that often values big achievements and dramatic transformations, it's easy to overlook the quiet, incremental progress that happens when we take one small step at a time. Yet it's these small steps that compound over time, leading to massive change. When we focus on making one small positive decision today, it builds momentum for the future. Success doesn't have to be achieved in a single leap. It's a journey made up of many small, intentional steps that add up to something much greater. When we start a new endeavor, we often feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the task. Whether it's a career change, a personal goal, or even just making a healthier lifestyle choice, the end result can seem far out of reach. This is where small steps come in. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, we break it down into manageable, bite-sized actions that we can take on a daily basis. It might be as simple as dedicating 10 minutes a day to learning something new, taking a short walk to improve your health, or writing down one idea every day for a creative project. These small, consistent actions are the building blocks of transformation. The beauty of small steps is that they are not intimidating. They feel achievable even on days when motivation is low or time is limited. Small steps don't require perfection or grand gestures. They simply require us to show up, take action, and commit to doing something, no matter how small, that moves us closer to our goal. Over time, these small steps start to accumulate, and what seemed like an impossible task becomes more manageable. The momentum built through consistency propels us forward, even when we face setbacks or obstacles. One of the most powerful aspects of small steps is that they allow for flexibility and adaptability. Big, ambitious goals can feel rigid and daunting, leaving little room for mistakes or changes in course. But when we take small steps, we give ourselves permission to adjust, learn, and recalibrate along the way. If one approach doesn't work, we can try another, knowing that each step is part of a larger process and that it's okay to make course corrections as we go. Small steps also help us to stay focused on the process rather than the outcome. It's easy to get discouraged when we're only focused on the end result, especially when it feels far away. But when we celebrate each small step and each moment of progress, we shift our mindset from "I'm not there yet" to "look at how far I've come." This shift is crucial because it allows us to enjoy the journey rather than only fixating on the destination. Ultimately, the power of small steps lies in their ability to create lasting change. It's not about making giant leaps or achieving instant success. It's about committing to continuous progress, no matter how small. Over time, these small actions add up, creating a life that reflects the person we've become through our consistent, intentional choices. In the end, it's the small steps that truly change everything. The journey of becoming the best version of yourself is not a destination, but a lifelong process. It is about continuously evolving, learning, and growing through every experience. While it's easy to get caught up in the idea of reaching a final goal or achieving a specific outcome, true growth happens when we focus on who we are becoming rather than what we are accomplishing. Becoming the best version of yourself is not about perfection. It's about alignment with your values, your strengths, and your purpose. It's about showing up for yourself each day with the commitment to keep growing, regardless of where you are on your journey. We often measure our progress by external achievements, titles, accolades, recognition, but these are only a small part of the equation. The real transformation happens inside, in the quiet moments when you choose to act with integrity, when you embrace vulnerability, when you forgive yourself for mistakes, and when you push through fear. It's the daily commitment to doing what's right for you, even when it's hard, that makes the difference. Becoming the best version of yourself isn't about fitting into someone else's mold of success. It's about creating your own path, guided by your deepest values and desires. This journey requires self-awareness and self-compassion. It's about recognizing your strengths and owning them while also acknowledging your weaknesses without judgment. The more you understand yourself, the clearer your path becomes. It's also about being kind to yourself in the process. The road to becoming the best version of yourself is rarely linear. There will be setbacks, doubts, and moments of failure, but each of these is an opportunity for growth. Every mistake teaches you something new, and every challenge strengthens your resilience. It's essential to let go of the idea that becoming the best version of yourself means never struggling. Struggles and challenges are part of the journey. The key is to approach them with curiosity rather than fear, to ask yourself what you can learn and how you can evolve from each experience. True growth comes from leaning into discomfort and embracing the discomfort that comes with stepping outside your comfort zone. Every time you choose to face a challenge, to push through fear, or to take a risk, you are becoming more aligned with the person you are meant to be. Becoming the best version of yourself also involves making choices that reflect your values. When your actions are in alignment with what you truly believe in, you build a sense of inner peace and fulfillment. The path to self-improvement is not about doing more or achieving more. It's about doing what matters most to you with intention and integrity. It's about building a life that is authentic and meaningful to you, not one that meets society's expectations or other standards. Ultimately, becoming the best version of yourself is a lifelong pursuit, one that is constantly evolving. It's not about a specific moment of arrival, but about the ongoing process of growth and self-discovery. The more you commit to showing up as your true self, the more you will create a life that reflects the person you are becoming. And in this journey of self-alignment, you will find that everything else starts to fall into place. In conclusion, the journey toward becoming the best version of yourself is not about achieving perfection or reaching a specific endpoint. It's about embracing growth, learning from failure, and making intentional choices every day. As we break free from limiting patterns, confront discomfort, and take small, consistent steps forward, we begin to create a life that aligns with our values and our deepest desires. The power to change everything lies within us, and it starts with recognizing that each moment is an opportunity to grow, evolve, and become more of who we are meant to be. Remember, transformation doesn't happen in a single leap. It happens when we commit to the process of growth, one step at a time, with courage, patience, and self-compassion. Ultimately, this journey of continuous self-improvement leads to a life that is rich with purpose, fulfillment, and alignment with our true selves. And as we embrace this path, we unlock the power to change not only our own lives, but the world around us. So here's my challenge to you: shake up your snow globe. Let the chaos settle into something new and extraordinary. Because when you commit to change, not just in thought, but in action, you don't just change your life. You change everything. Thank you.